Welcome to day 5 of Henley Royal Regatta. Today is special. It's finals day. There are going to be 20 races, and for the first time in this programming, I'm wearing a tie. The first race of the day was a feisty one. It was the visitors, Coxless Fours. It was Sydney versus Cal Berkeley, and it was really close to an outright clash. At the end, Sydney appealed to the umpire, but it was white flagged by Richard Phelps, and Cal took the first medal of the day. Then came the big ticket on the junior women's cards, the Diamond Jubilee, where Marlow faced Gloucester in the junior girls final.
Attention!
So, back at the start, for the second final of the day. This is women's quadruple sculls, and we have two fantastic crews for you here. The cream of British women's junior rowing. On the left of your picture, it's Marlow Rowing Club. You may have heard their president, Steve Redgrave, say this was one race that he's going to force himself to watch because his schedule is so busy. They are in red.
And yesterday, this was one of the races of the day, absolutely. And we're looking at a repeat of last year's final between Marlow and Gloucester.
Well, this race is panning out completely differently from the race we had last year between these two crews. And now Gloucester have made their power tell. What a move that was, Sarah.
Yeah, great move there from Gloucester. As they move into the lead, they were winners of the Championship Girls Quads at the National Schools Regatta. Marlow Rowing Club was second.
So as you fly along with the crews with odd drone shots, you may be wondering why Gloucester are so strong. The reason is because there's a lot of investment from British Rowing going into Gloucester. There we look at the Gloucester crew and the stroke of that crew. But the money from British Rowing has made Gloucester a world-class performance centre, and it attracts these young women and teaches them how to scull. But it's Gloucester with a decent lead coming to the last minute and a half of this race.
And for Gloucester, it was all about Henley. They tailored their season for a victory here. They won last year. They're a seeded crew. They came out here to win. And look at them, what fine form. That move that they made was so decisive. A really great tactical race from Gloucester, who had the advantage.
It's a much tighter race than it was last year, where Gloucester Rowing Club won by 4 lengths. And Marlow still believe they can do something. They will have been told never, ever, ever give up. And they are going to fight right to the line.
And the Gloucester crew have a very good finish. We saw them sprint home yesterday to take the Americans out of contention. The White Cities from the USA, they had a fantastic fast finish on them, and we're seeing it again now, opening up to a clear water lead over Marlow Rowing Club on their right-hand side.
So it's Gloucester Rowing Club, coached by Brett King. What a great job he's done there with that programme. They look for the line, left and right. They'll hear the buzzer. The elation will be palpable. As Charlotte Hodgkin-Byrne was the first to raise her hands. And what a wonderful idea it was for the stewards of Henley Regatta to institute this event for young women, because it has exploded. There are so many women's programmes. These are the cream of the cream, the best two in the country that have taken advantage of that enlightened decision.
In the end, it wasn't close, and neither was the next, as Nereus made easy work of Lyon in the Temple. And then, to some consternation, their supporters kept up the Dutch tradition of swimming out to their winners. In the Queen Mother Challenge Cup, the British quad that's had such a stunning season so far were far too good for Rostock and Potsdamer. But it wasn't such good news for home fans in the Brit. Sydney Rowing Club managed to win a race after losing the visitors first thing, beating Thames Rowing Club in the Cox Fours. The 6th race of the day was another controversial one, as Fode and Langridge took a lead and then seemed to get involved in some steering. Was that gamesmanship? Was that deliberate? Or was that just the wind? The umpire had a post-finish word, but Fode and Langridge win the silver goblets. Leander and University of London recorded a win over the Greeks in the Steward Challenge Cup. That's Open Coxless Fours. And in the Princess Grace, the British national quad, racing for Imperial, overwhelmed Molesey. Marhay Drysdale sculled smoothly away to win yet another Diamond Challenge Sculls. And the last race of the morning session was the Remnum, the International Women's Eights. Britain took on Canada, and we joined the action with the start just seconds away.
This is going to be a cream cracker of a race.
And Martin, what I've known about these two crews recently is that the British crew have developed this really fast start. And look at the faces there. We've got Zoe Lee in the stroke looking so determined. She wants to get out fast because they know the Canadians on the right-hand side of the screen. Last time these crews met, it was the Canadians who were victorious.
So, we're just about 35-40 seconds into this race, and I tell you, this is going to be decided in the first quarter. Can the British be competitive? And they lead, Sarah. The British have done what they wanted to do. I think they will probably have a few inches.
The Canadians, look at that explosive stroke. These women, 4 of them have won the Remnum before in 2012. They're back again and they want this medal.
The umpire warned Western because Wiley Thompson was steering close. She wants to send the puddles down, the swirls the blades make to try and upset the blades on the left-hand side of the British boat. You can see the umpire, Boris Rankov, is warning them yet again. He's telling Leslie Wiley Thompson to get over, and there's clear water lead. And my guess is that the British women are going to be disappointed if they can't get closer to the Canadians by the time the finish comes.
Yeah, absolutely. It will be heartbreaking for them. But Zoe needs to ask them to do something different. You know, you can't just keep pushing harder at this stage. You have to do something in a different way.
So this is unexpected, even if you're enjoying the sport of rowing for the first time. And we did think that these women, the British, would get closer to them. Zoe de Toledo, the Cox, with her back to us. And there's a call from Leslie Wiley Thompson, so experienced. And you talk to the Canadians about her, and they say just to hear her voice, a calming voice, and they know that she knows exactly what to do in a race. So it's the Canadian national squad rowing as Western Rowing Club on the left of your picture. They are giving the British women a drubbing, and James Harris, the coach of the British women, will be disappointed, as the British women will, that they could not get closer, at least an overlap to these Canadians. But they have shown they mean business. They want to take on the Americans in a week's time in Lucerne, and the British women will have to get closer to the Canadians if indeed they are to reach the 5th place in the World Championships, which is Olympic qualification. Top 5 go of right to Rio, and the British women will have to get closer to the Canadians if they want to make that 5th place. I don't think that's such a great road from the British women. They will be disappointed with that result. Not the Canadians, though. They have came here and done what they wanted. You can see the smiles just now on Lauren Wilkinson, the Canadian stroke woman, because they comfortably beat the British squad, the Leander and Imperial crew.
That's the lunch break then. Everyone can have an hour and a half to rest and recuperate. Apart from the crews involved in the 10 finals this afternoon, it's impossible not to look closely at the Grand. That's coming at 3:30. They say that Washington are the fastest university crew in the world. Well, I don't think that's true anymore.
Yeah, and I expect to see the Yale boys going out really hard. I saw them, they're big boys, 6'6", 6'8", trying to get off the start hard, as fast and as aggressively as they can.
Yale put them under pressure.
It's Yale's Bulldogs, coached by Steve Gladstone, who have destroyed the Huskies at this stage of the race.
Pulled clear.
This is a turn-up. It's like University of Washington if you follow football. They are Barcelona, the best club team in the world.
Extended and provided the first upset of the day.
A massive upset in the Champions League of University Rowing. It is Yale University from the East Coast, from Connecticut, that take a famous victory over supposedly the fastest American university crew in the world. There they cross the line. They will hear the cheers of the Bulldogs ahead of them. They will hang their heads dejectedly. This was the match that mattered. Forget anything that happened in the States. This is the Mecca for university rowing. Henley Royal Regatta, and on that scene, on that stage, Washington have been found wanting, and the men from Yale will take that home with them as long as they live.
No upset in the Princess Royal Challenge Cup. Napkova from the Czech Republic drew away to win that comfortably. In the double sculls, the GB Olympic double took on two scullers from South Africa's lightweight four from London 2012. While lightweights into a headwind, it's only going to go one way. Next up was the race that I umpired, a line-up in the PE between Westminster and St Paul's. Westminster have been flying through this regatta, and I think they were favourites. But St Paul's didn't care about labels and took it on early doors.
So the coaches of these two crews, Bobby Thatcher, who coaches St Paul's, and Billy Mason, who coaches Westminster, two of the most famous rowing figures. Go! And there's Billy Mason's Westminster School, power off the start.
And it's the first time the Westminster crew has steered on this side. St Paul's likewise haven't spent much time on the buck station, so both coxes slightly new to their surroundings as we see the St Paul's crew coming slightly off their station, slightly wide on the island. Let's hope they can keep a straight line now as they come up towards the top and maybe feel a bit of that wind.
Well, it's Paul's who have got the lead, and the favourites in this race, in fact, throughout the regatta, have been the men in pink from Westminster School. And they have won the school's head, they have won the national schools, where St Paul's finished second on both occasions. St Paul's haven't beaten this crew. St Paul's, Bobby Thatcher, their coach, was telling me they have lost year on year J40s, J50s, J60s to the Westminster School. He told me that these men you're looking at now, they want to beat Westminster more than they want a British junior vest at the World Championships this year.
And that Westminster crew, they're really looking quite calm still, despite the fact they're half a length down. It looks to me like they've settled into a rhythm. They know this is going to be a long race. They know there's the headwind. They know it's more than 2,000 metres. And I should imagine if I was in the St Paul's crew, if I was Bobby, I'd be nervous now that they haven't managed to break the Westminster crew. St Paul's, though, I think have responded pretty well here. And to me, they might have moved out again on this Westminster crew. We see here trying to keep their length, trying to keep their composure. You see the number two's gone up there. That signals the crew on the buck stations ahead. And now that number one just overlapping shows the two crews are still just in contact.
So St Paul's School, they have been getting better and better throughout the year. Matthew Pinsent has told the St Paul's cox, Vlad Saigu, to move over. He is doing the right thing. He's sending puddles down to wash the Westminster School down. There's gamesmanship for you. And why not? Because Westminster have been ahead of St Paul's all through their rowing lives. Matthew
Pinsent's had the flag out. The St Paul's School cox has responded, got back towards his station, and he's done enough to disturb Westminster, but not enough to upset the umpire.
Great technique from the St Paul's School crew. They have never beaten the men behind them from Westminster School, never ever throughout their rowing career. The script here was that the men in pink would come and win the triple, the school's head, the national schools, and crown it with the win in the Princess Elizabeth Cup at Henley. St Paul's School had other ideas. Bobby Thatcher has crafted expertly his crew. They've got better and better through the season, and Bobby Thatcher said better and better through this regatta. And it's his men, as the water flattens out, who's rowed to the finish just another few strokes for a famous, famous victory. The underdogs have overturned the favourites, and you will hear the cheer to end all cheers as St Paul's School cross the line at the finish. There they go. The Princess Elizabeth Cup is yours. Well done, Pauls and Bobby Thatcher.
You can see what it means to these boys. You will remember this for the rest of your lives. There's not many wins, there's not many feelings as good as this one. They've grown up together, they've had their lessons together, they've worked so hard on the rowing machines, the gym, the running, the times on the tideway when it's wet, when it's cold, when it's miserable. This is what it's all worth. This is what it's all for. Those St Paul's boys will be very proud. The Westminster guys, I'm sorry, they're going to be hurting. Matthew has waved the red flag.
He's not going to disqualify St Paul's.
He did warn them.
Oh my God, he's not going to disqualify St Paul's.
This is going to be quite a moment.
This is going to be massive news.
They kept me busy during the race, and at one stage I thought that Westminster were protesting. They weren't, and St Paul's get to keep the Princess Elizabeth. A popular win over the Germans as Thames Rowing Club won the Thames, and race 16, the Wyfold, Molesey beat Tideway Scullers. Then it was time for the big ticket of Henley Royal Regatta, the Grand, Britain versus Germany, and it was a fantastic display of powerhouse rowing.
This is the race of the day.
Attention! Go!
What a cocktail of noise, the crowd, the blades, the coxes, the umpires launch.
That was incredible. The noise off the blocks there, everybody going absolutely crazy on the bank. This is the race of the day. The two top eights in the world, gladiatorial racing down a track, one against one. It doesn't get any bigger than this, and this is going to go right to the end. This is going to go to the wire.
And the British 8 will be loving this start. Normally the Germans lead them out, and in the middle of the course it's the British come through, but I would be very surprised if Germany win the race from this position. The British just beat these Germans 2 weeks ago in Varese. It was a nail-biting race, but I think they've got stronger with the Ludis back in the British 8, Mark.
Yeah, he has to add something to the crew. He's such a talented guy.
It's the British crew that have a lead, but it's nip and tuck. We knew this would be a great race, and it's turning out the most important race in the regatta's history. The oldest race at Henley Royal Regatta, the Grand Challenge Cup between the Olympic champions, Germany, on your left, and the world champions from 2014 and 13, Great Britain, and they are putting distance into the Germans.
And look at that air shot. You've got crews side by side coming down the track, the two best crews in the world racing down the Henley track. It does not get any better than this.
It's almost a one-length lead as they go past Upper Thames Club. They're 2/3 of the way through the race. And this is fantastic. Look at the boys. They must be loving this, Mark.
Yeah, and this is the sort of conditions they love. A nice headwind. They can really use their power. And that's what Jürgen loves. He's all about power. These guys have got stacks of it, bucketfuls of it.
So I think in rowing terms, this is what we call a drubbing. The distance between these two crews was just inches in the World Championship final.
This is a incredible performance by the British 8. The way they've come out, they've dominated for the first stroke to really lay down a marker.
They will get quicker than this for the World Championships in September.
And that's what I've always said about the British team. We get better from the last World Cup to the World Championships or Olympics.
So Great Britain win the Grand, and they don't just win it, they destroy the Germans. And you can see what it means to Phelan Hill. He's up out of his seat. The Germans came here. Gamely came here. I thought perhaps they might miss this World Cup and turn up at Lucerne. 3 cheers the British give. The race of the day, it was the performance of a lifetime, really, because putting a clear water on the Olympic champions is not something you see every day, and this is an amazing British 8.
A powerful display there from the British 8. The next race, a Leander crew beat a mixed Leander and Oxford Brooks boat in the Prince of Wales. The Prince Albert was another matchup between Yale and Washington. The reverse result there of the ladies, this time it was Washington who won, which set up an exciting final race of the regatta, the Forley Challenge Cup. Nottingham took on Sir William Borlase, who got the better of that junior men's final. So that's the end of our final highlights for 2015. It's impossible to sum up Henley. You can come here with friends, you can come here to fall asleep in a deck chair. You can also come here to watch some of the best rowing in the world. Goodbye.